This is how one does it. The Queen shows Meghan the royal ropes as they arrive in Cheshire on their first joint public engagement after an overnight trip on the royal train. The Duchess of Sussex has arrived in Cheshire with the Queen for a masterclass in how to conduct royal engagements, just a month after her wedding. The former actress enjoyed an inaugural overnight trip on the royal train with the Queen, ahead of her first day of engagements with the monarch, and arrived at Runcorn station this morning after travelling up from London with the head of state on the distinctive burgundy liveried locomotive. It was around 10 months after her own nuptials before the Duchess of Cambridge undertook a similar day of events, and will no doubt be viewed as a sign of royal confidence in the former actress. The Queen has been on the throne for 66 years and has conducted tens of thousands of public engagements, shaking hundreds of thousands of hands along the way. Former actress Meghan couldn't resist sporting another creation by her wedding designer Givenchy, and looked elegant in the cream-fitted dress with a cape feature at the shoulders, nipped in at the waist with a black belt, carrying a simple black bag by the same designer. Her Majesty was vibrant as ever in a lime green ensemble by Stuart Parvin and hat by Rachel Trevor Morgan. The monarch and her son's granddaughter seemed to be getting on famously, with Meghan giggling and whispering into the Queen's ear while watching a children's performance at the opening of a new bridge across the River Mersey in Widnes, Cheshire. The royal visitors chatted to Halton Council officials, architects and engineers and others involved in the 25-year project to create the new toll bridge across the Mersey between Widnes and Runcorn. "It's a magnificent bridge," Meghan told them before joining the Queen on a stage to watch a dance performance by local schoolchildren celebrating 1,000 years of crossings across the river. The royal visitors lapped it up, smiling and chatting to each other and to dignitaries as they watched children dance to a 7-minute medley of music that included Edgar's March Pomp and Circumstance and the Beatles' Can't Buy Me Love. The Duchess was absolutely interested in the dance performance and in the history of the various bridges that have crossed the river, said David Parr, Halton Council's chief executive. Before they left, the Queen and Meghan accepted posies from two schoolgirls, Savannah Cafferty, 11, and Alarni Wayne, who was celebrating her 8th birthday. "They both wished me happy birthday," said an excited Alarni. Savannah, smiling afterwards, said, "I never thought I'd get the chance to meet the Duchess." The Queen and Meghan both praised the children's dance performance, in the grounds of a science museum half a mile from the bridge, when they spoke to Andrew Curfey, whose theatre company had brought 80 children aged 5 to 18 from 9 local schools together to create their show, entitled Bringing Communities Together. "It's been a massive treat, a massive buzz for us all," Mr. Curfey, 32, said. They both wanted to talk. The Queen said she really enjoyed it, but the best hit was just before they left with Meghan. "She turned back and said to me, 'The children did great by the way.'" Curfey said of Meghan, "She was really calm considering it was her first official engagement with the boss. She is with the boss, so no pressure." As the pair disembarked from the royal train this morning, they were greeted by the Lord Lieutenant of Cheshire, David Briggs, who told the Duchess, "I understand it is your first trip to the north of England." Next stop for the royals was a visit to the Story House Centre in Chester, which features a library and performing arts spaces. At 12 p.m. they paused outside to observe a minute's silence in remembrance of the 71 people who were killed in the Grenfell Tower tragedy 1 year ago today. Earlier in the day, Phil Redmond, the creator of television dramas such as Brookside, Grange Hill, and Hollyoaks, was introduced to the Duchess with his wife Alexis, the High Sheriff of Cheshire. "I wondered if she wanted a part in Hollyoaks," he said. "She will have to go through the audition process like everyone else." He was joking and admitted their conversation has been more about how nice it was to see the Duchess with the Queen in Widnes at a ceremony marking the opening of the new £1.86 billion Mersey Getaway Bridge over the Mersey. "I didn't ask her, but there is a lunch to come," he said. "It's a big day for Cheshire." The Queen and Meghan arrived in Runcorn by train this morning, and as they disembarked they were greeted by the Lord Lieutenant of Cheshire, David Briggs, who told the Duchess, "I understand it is your first trip to the north of England." She replied, "That's correct. I'm very happy to be here." The Queen's outfit also appeared to be a subtle tribute to the victims after green became a symbol of remembrance for those affected by the fire. Inside, the pair met with a Syrian settlement group learning craftworks and watch a performance by Fallen Angels, a dance theater company for people recovering from addiction, before moving to watch a medley of songs from the theater's latest production, A Little Night Music. Before they left, they were treated to a performance by local schoolchildren alongside actors from Swallow and Amazons, and the monarch unveiled her second plaque of the day to mark the Story House's official opening. No royal visit would be complete without a walkabout, and although Meghan has done a number of these already, she will join the Queen for a short meet and greet on their way to nearby Cheshire Town Hall for a civic lunch. Her nerves, and lack of experience in the minutiae of royal protocol, were in evidence as they prepared to get into the Queen's Bentley awaiting them in the station car park. There was a moment of confusion as the Duchess appeared unsure who should get into the car first. "What is your preference?" she asked the Queen. "You go first," said the Queen. "Oh, okay," said the Duchess. Meghan and the Queen arrived in Runcorn this morning after travelling on the royal train, which costs around £900,000 a year to run, is only used by the sovereign, Prince Philip, Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall. Even the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry have never been on it for an official engagement, but the Queen, now 92, prefers to use the train overnight when traveling long distances in the UK. Meghan and the Queen have already met several times. The monarch was even been seen driving her dog just before the royal wedding. But an overnight journey in each other's company without Harry to ease things along would have been to take their relationship to a new level. They would have plenty of time to fill, as the royal train, 9 carriages long, is hardly a rushed form of travel. Given that the rail journey from London is only 2 hours, the train, which left Euston at 11 p.m. and arrived at 10:35, spent most of the night in a discreet siding well away from the main line, so the royal passengers could have an uninterrupted night's sleep. On board the royal train, the monarch has invited Meghan to accompany her for a day of engagements today, and Mail Online understands that, given the distances involved, the train set off yesterday, arriving at Runcorn station this morning. While the Queen always tends to make long-distance journeys on her train overnight, it will be quite the eye-opener for her new granddaughter-in-law. The locomotive consists of 9 carriages in total, however, these are often reduced to 7 depending on the number of people traveling, and Her Majesty is said to describe it as one of the few places where she can relax in total privacy. At over 150 years old, it is the only private, non-commercial train service catering to one family still in operation in the UK, and these photos offer a rare glimpse into Britain's most exclusive railway service. Much of the 9-carriage train currently in service dates back to 1977, when it was extensively used during the Silver Jubilee tours, and while a novel experience, it is terribly dated and not entirely luxurious. In fact, photographs of inside the train show how it is now a lot more functional, in contrast to the plush interiors that it used to boast in its glamorous heyday. This comes after criticism over the expense of the royal train, which cost taxpayers £900,000 in 2016.